the Giants 40. Fredrickson all by himself. Cuts back beautifully.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. Welcome to the Gridiron. Before we get started, just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, the New York Giants. Saw a couple articles. One of them, I mean, it's could be, pretty good. It could be kind of, nothing, or it could be a sign that maybe things aren't. Houston, we might have a problem. And I saw another article talking about that. Giants blew games last year. But more on that in a minute. But they're bringing in, they're hosting Eric Ebron, a former first rounder, picked number 10 by the Detroit Lions in 2014. So, I mean, he was, a high pick. But, I mean, as we see with the Detroit Lions, especially the way they've been playing, not so much maybe playing, but I mean their record, shall we say. Yeah, I mean, he's not what's a pick number 10. I mean, maybe a decent tight end and this, that, and the other thing, but number 10, we're going to go video. We're going to take a little deep dive here. I'll show you some of his stats and what PFF thinks of him and all and everything. And, he was not number 10. A nice tight end, okay? So it either means that, the Giants are, bringing him in just to maybe bolster up the tight end group, which is, hopefully Daniel Bellinger is okay. If you got Ricky Seals-Jones, you got maybe Eric Ebron coming in. Jordan Akins is a fine athlete. So, that wouldn't be too bad. It could be pretty much just nothing. They're just trying to do the due diligence. They got a experienced veteran out there that they're just bringing in, and they brought a bunch of guys in actually, and just did a workout with it. Just happened one of them was Eric Ebron, and he's relatively well known, experienced tight end, right? Or it could be something a little bad because it might be saying something that there might be a little something wrong with Daniel Bellinger, and he may not be good to go for maybe, beginning of the season or something like that. So they're just going out there and trying to bring in some experienced tight ends, or trying to help out the tight end group if Daniel Bellinger may not be around for a little while. So we'll have to wind up waiting and see on that. As far as I know, they haven't signed him. They just brought him in. All they've done is just brought him in so far, but we're going to go over that. I said, and then there's another article that shows how the Giants were tied for third. Okay, there was 7 games last year that they had to lead in, which is true, and they blew them, if you want to call it that. We'll go take a little deep dive into some of those games. Winning 3-0 in the first quarter is not really, blowing a game. Okay, what I consider blowing a game is if you're up 21 points, or if you're winning in the fourth quarter, or something along. That's what I say, blowing a lead. But if you kick a field goal 5 minutes into the game and you wind up losing the game, come on, did you really blow the game? Yeah. And there was a couple of games they were also tied in too, and they didn't obviously wind up winning them either. So we'll go into those, but the Giants amazingly did not wind up leading the league in blown games, which I find that kind of hard to believe considering they had 13 losses, but they were tied for third. So let's take a deep dive, shall we, into these 2 articles here. One, Giants host free agent tight end Eric Ebron for a workout, And the other one is Giants choked 7 times in 2021, the third most in the NFL.
All right, the New York Giants. Here we go. We got the article here from, I think there's a couple articles out there basically kind of said the same thing, but this one I got from Fan Nation, Giants Country. All right, New York Giants host free agent tight end Eric Ebron for a workout. The Giants continue to explore their options at tight end by looking at a former first-round draft pick. Yeah, it was pick number 10. I mean, whew. The Lions took him a little too high. I mean, solid, right? Tight end, but not pick number 10. But it is what it is. As the New York Giants prepare to launch their 2022 training camp Tuesday, which is today, but the pads go on tomorrow, all right? The team is still leaving its options open regarding upgrading some of the positions on the roster. One position the Giants took a look at is tight end, where currently Daniel Bellinger, their 4th-round pick, is sitting on the PUP list with a quad injury. Among a group of players in for a workout Monday in East Rutherford was former Lions tight end Eric Ebron. A nice size, 6'4", 253 pounds, good, solid size, right? He was a former first-round pick, number 10 overall, by the Detroit Lions in 2014. He played 4 seasons for the Lions before jumping to the Colts in 2018. After 2 seasons in Indianapolis, the Newark, New Jersey. So he was raised right up there by East Rutherford. I mean, it's close. I mean, very close, right? The native has spent the next 2 seasons with the Steelers. Ebron has appeared in 106 games with 59 starts and scored 351 passes out of 559 targets for 3,837 yards and 33 touchdowns. He had one very good year. He has battled through some hamstring, knee, and ankle injuries while with the Lions, missing 8 games in his first 3 seasons in Detroit. All right. This is just kind of a long article here, and it's got just a bunch of advertisements and stuff in between it here. Ebron, who the Lions released on March 14, 2018, had his best season in 2018 as a member with the Colts. That was his one really good year. His first full NFL season, he appeared in all 16 games with 8 starts, with 8 starters. And received the career season high in reception, 66, yards, 750, and touchdown, 13. Very impressive. It is unknown how long the Giants expect Bellinger to be sidelined with this injury. The Giants completely renovated the tight end room this offseason, adding Bellinger, veterans Ricky Seals-Jones, and Jordan Akins, undrafted rookies Andre Miller and Austin Allen, and holdover Chris Myrick to the room. I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's like everybody's brand new. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, just Chris Myrick is the only one, right? But you see here, I mean, Eric Ebron, he's, I got my head's in the way here, but, he was with the first 4 years he was here with the Lions. Then he spent 2 years with the Colts and the past 2 with the Steelers. Now, his past season, he didn't play a whole heck of a lot. He didn't play a lot of games. I'm not exactly sure if he was injured or what, but as you see here, I mean, this is his 2021 with the Steelers here season. He played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He played in 8 games. All right, yeah, so after week 11, he didn't play at all. So, but I mean, nothing really to write home. I mean, his past season, graded out at 48.4, pass grade 46.8. His run blocking grade 49.2. So I mean, just this past season, it doesn't. I mean, maybe there was injuries. I don't know that were ailing him all season long and it was causing him some problems. I said that once again. I don't know. I mean, because you notice the years before that he did pretty well. I mean, with the Colts he was 71, then a 66, and his 4 years with the Lions of 69, right? 65, then a 56. His rookie years 56. But I mean, you'll notice, I mean, the past 3 years, he's gone downhill, 71 to a 57 to a 48. So he didn't have super spectacular years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So like I said, I don't know if that's the injuries are just catching up to him, which is quite possible. right? He's 29 years old, so he'll only be 29 years old. He'll be 30 next year, so he's still these recently decently young, right in the middle. He can certainly play for a few more years, but if he keeps playing like this, who knows, right? Now these are his stats here. Okay, and as I said, you see the 1 year with the Indianapolis, he went to the Pro Bowl, right? Had 110 targets, 66 receptions for 750 yards, 13 touchdowns, right? Other than that, the most he ever had was 5. He played 14 games for the Lions in 2015. He had 5 touchdown receptions. His first season with the Steelers, right? He had 5 touchdown receptions on 56 catches. So his first year, with the Steelers, he had 56 catches, 558 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Nice, solid season. Can't complain about that at all. As I said, this I do not know. Okay, if he was injured or what, that I didn't look up on that. But nothing super spectacular. Everything is about like 10, 11, or 12 yards of reception, right? The first year he had about 10, then 11, then 10, then 11, and 12, and 10. So he's not going to, nothing super flashy. He's not going to, really extend the field or anything like that. But, he's a veteran presence. So we'll have to wait and see if they do wind up signing him. I'm sure if they do wind up signing him, it ain't going to be for a lot of money because the Giants can't afford it. Plus, the guy's not coming off a super spectacular year, so I'm sure, as I said, he'll be affordable. But what I don't know, is this they're just trying to maybe possibly upgrade some of the areas that may be a little bit weak, or is it a little telltale sign that maybe Daniel Bellinger may not be ready for a little while? Maybe he might be out for a couple months or something. So who knows? But even as of right now, I still don't even know if they've signed him. But just bringing him in, former first-round pick, on the cheap. Why not, right? Then we got this article here, right? We got a kick out of this one. Giants choke 7 times in 2021, the third most in the NFL. As I said, we're going to go over this. If you consider like a 3-0 lead in the first quarter and then you lose the game, if you call that choking, okay, I don't. They were tied a couple times. They were tied with the Chargers 7-7. Then they got totally annihilated by the Chargers. So, but they had a couple leads early on, and they wound up losing. To me, choking is when you're beating the Redskins in the fourth quarter. To me, choking is when you're beating the Falcons like the whole game, and then all of a sudden you just like the offense just like lays down like it's never played football before. It was just uninspired, absolutely, totally uninspired football, and they don't score any points. And that's just blowing it. Kind of choking is when you had the Chiefs, you were beating the Chiefs in the fourth quarter, and you had you kind of had the game. I don't want to say game in your hand, but you could have won that game, right? That's kind of like choking, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of these games. They were beating Denver in the first quarter. Then Denver scored the next, 29 points or something. You want to call that choking? Okay, I don't. But see, we got here. The New York Giants finished the 2021 regular season with a 4-13 record. It hardly seemed competitive in most of those games. Yep, that's correct. The 13 losses were also the also the most in franchise history. Well, also that too. Because they played an extra game. Now, like in 1974, when they were 2-12, right? They played 14 games. They had 12 losses. If they played 3 more games, guess what? They would have had 3 more losses. Guess what? They would have had 15 losses. Guess what? That would have been the franchise record. Okay, so. Some of this stuff has to do with how many games you're playing. You got quarterbacks setting passing yard record or this or wide receivers catching more passes than anybody. Well, if you're playing more games, yeah, I guess so. You know what I mean? But something like this, the 13 losses the most in franchise. As I said, 1966 they were 1-12-1. They played 14 games. Well, guess what? If they played 3 more games, guess what? They would have had 3 more losses. They would have been 1-15-1. All right, so yeah, it just happened they had the 13 losses because they played 17 games, right? But would it surprise you? In addition to their 4 wins, the Giants also held a lead in 7 of those 13 games they lost. Yeah, absolutely. It's right. I mean, I checked it. It's right. I didn't think so. I thought it was like 4 or 5. I didn't know it was 7. It's true. Joe Judge's squad blew 7 leads. I mean, as I said, right, it's subjective, which was tied for the 3rd most in the league alongside the Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions, Seattle Seahawks, and the Chicago Bears. Now, this is kind of funny here, but in a small way. I guess maybe not if you're a Giants fan. Ironically, one lead that wasn't blown by the Bears came during the 29-3 dismantling of the Giants in Week 17. So I mean, the Bears were right. The Bears blew as many games as the Giants did. The only 2 teams who blew more leads than the Giants in 2021 were the Baltimore Ravens, who choked 8 times, and the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, who squandered a remarkable 10 leads throughout the regular season. Following the season, both general manager Dave Gettleman and head coach Joe Judge were relieved of their duties. Gettleman's exit was disguised as a quiet retirement. Yeah, well, it's one or the other. It's either retire or we're just going to fire you. So, but if we go to, let's see, All right, let's start from the beginning here. All right, the first game of the season, they were beating the Broncos. Yep, absolutely. All right. 7-0, first quarter, I think, or second quarter. Okay, it was a scoreless first quarter. I'm sorry, 7-3. And I think, this is where it all started. Week 1. They couldn't stop the other team from scoring in the final 2 minutes. It was absolutely unfreaking believable how every freaking time the other team would have the ball in the final 2 minutes of the first half and just walk down the field and score points. Absolutely unbelievable. This is where it all started. Week 1. Giants could have took a lead going in the half if the defense just buckled down. I mean, we're not talking the greatest show on turf. We're talking the Denver Broncos here last year, okay? They were not that super spectacular, okay? Just let them walk right down the field, take the halftime lead, game over. Right? But Sterling Shepard, right, got a 37-yard pass from Daniel Jones. The Giants were up 7-3. Okay, so they did have a 7-3 lead. And then the Broncos rattled off the next 24 points. Then Daniel Jones scored as the clock ran out, and it was 27-13. That's why they didn't even try the extra point. But, I mean, if you want to call this blowing a lead or choking, the Giants were up 7-3 with almost 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. I mean, if you want to call that choking, okay, to me, nah. There's a long way left to go in the game. And the better team this day won. Absolutely. Without question. So I'm not going to call it choking, but, they had a lead and they lost. Absolutely. Then the first 3 weeks, right? Let's go to week number 2. They were beating the Washington football team. Now this one here, they won. It was a blown call by the ref. Dexter Lawrence was not offside on that final field goal attempt. He moved with the ball. The ball moved, he moved. He was not offside. Bad call by the refs. The Giants won this game. Okay? But, the Giants with 2 minutes to go, Graham Gano kicked the 35-yard field goal and go up 29-27. This is choking. Letting the other team walk down the field and kick the game-winning field goal. That's a choke. Also, you got this too. Graham Gano, 55-yard field goal. They went up 26-20, right? Then, there you go. There it is, right? This guy, huh? Sound familiar? Ricky Seals-Jones, 19-yard pass from Mr. Heineken, right? Or Modelo Especial. Or maybe a Corona Light, right? Taylor Heineke. So the Giants had a lead. Actually, they had what? 23-17 lead, right? Then they blew it, make it 27-26, and then they got it back, and then they blew it again. So they blew a couple leads in the fourth quarter. That's choking. To me, that's a choke, absolutely. But this was a blown call. Giants won this game. Okay, so then we go to week 3. I mean, against the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, this was just absolutely ungodly, freaking pathetic. The worst freaking, unbelievable. I mean, the Giants got 2 field goals, right? And then they managed to get a touchdown, 14-7. And then after that, I mean, basically it seemed like the whole, the last half, I guess, of the second quarter and the whole third quarter, right? They were just like, right? And then the whole fourth quarter. I mean, once they got this lead at 14-7, it was just like, we got a lead. Let's see if the Falcons can catch us and maybe pass us. So we're just not going to worry about scoring or moving the ball or nothing. We're just going to start laying eggs and we'll see how the Falcons, see if they want to win this game or not. Absolutely pathetic. So they had a 14-7 lead. Then they, right, this is blowing. Yeah, this is choking. They tied it up. And, of course, then the Giants got the ball back. Surprise, surprise. Giants couldn't move the ball. And then as time ran out, Koo kicked a 40-yard field goal, and they won 17-14. That's choking. That's blowing the lead. Absolutely. All right, then we got week 6. Where are we at here? Against the Rams. Now, this one's kind of hard to believe. We lose 384,000 to 11, but somehow the Giants had a 3-point lead. Okay, so I mean, if you want to call this choking, that's on you. To me, no. This is just the Giants, went up 3-0, and then the Rams scored the next 17,000 points. That's what I call that. Okay, the Giants got blown the frick out. That's what I call that. This ain't choking. Okay, they scored 28. They scored 4 touchdowns in the second quarter. Yeah, no, you didn't choke. You got blown the frick out. That's what that is. Okay, so I mean. Okay, then next one we go is to week 8 against Kansas City. Now this one, we all saw this national TV. This was a tough watch, very, very tough watch. Okay, the Giants were winning in the fourth quarter. Evan Ingram up 17-14, right? Then they tied the game up. Then they wound up giving up the lead with a minute to go. I mean, just tough. Right, Kansas City went up. Giants tied it. Kansas City went up 14-7. There was 14-10. Then the Giants took the lead right early. I'm sorry, in the fourth quarter, early, and then the whole rest of the. They just if they just seemed inspired, if they just I don't know. It just they never ever really seemed totally inspired when we were playing with Judge. It was just something there that very, very uninspired football. And this was a good example of it. They had a lead, right? And they had the Chiefs on the ropes, and right. So this would be a blown. This could certainly for me in the choking category without question. Okay, so then we go to week 11. Week 11, where are we at here? Week 11 would be against. This one here is kind of tough here too. All right, against Tampa Bay, you lose 30-10. All right. All right, the Giants, they're at 10. They were tied 10-10. Okay, so this is one of the ones. It was 10-10, right? 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Now this isn't in their blown lead category or choking because they never actually had the lead. They were losing 7-0, 7-3, 10-3, and it was tied 10-10. After that, the Bucs took over and dominated and all. But the Giants were actually tied in that one. All right, then they lost. All right, then we go to week 13. Where are we at? Week 13 against the Dolphins. Now, same thing with this one. Right, this one's a tough one here. The Giants, same thing here. Giants actually had a 3-0 lead. Okay, they kicked 3 field goals the whole game. Right, the Giants had Mike Lennon in there, right, as their quarterback. No touchdowns, surprising. Sacked 3 times, right? So this here, they consider this a choke. You're winning 3-0, barely into the second quarter. You're up 3-0. You got a 38-string quarterback in there, right? And that's a choke. No, you got beat. Plain and simple. Tip your cap to the Miami Dolphins. Good job, Miami. You beat us fair and square. This is not a choke. Okay. All right. Then after that, we got week number 14. Now, this one here is kind of, right? Well, this is in not the choking category. It was the tied. The Giants were actually tied 7-7. Then the Chargers scored the next 1,284 points to go up 37-7, right? And then I guess they felt sorry for the Giants and let the Giants score a couple touchdowns to make it somewhat close. But the Giants were actually tied in this one, right? Going into the second quarter, it was 7-7. Who would have thought going into the second quarter, it was tied 7-7, that before you know it, it'd be 37-7. But once again, the Giants were tied in this one going into the second quarter. All right. Then we got Philadelphia. All right. The Eagles. And I guess same thing here. I mean, somehow we lost 34-10. All right. We had a kick. Graham Gano had to kick a 54-yard field goal for us to go up 3-0. Right. Barely in the second quarter, and this is a choke. We scored 3 points. Then the Eagles scored the next 34 points. And we finally scored a touchdown from Mike Lennon to Evan Ingram to make it 34-10 with about 4 minutes to go in the game. So we're up 3-0 barely in the second quarter, and they call this a choke. No. I call this the Eagles blew us the frick out of the building. That's what I call this. Okay, so this, did they have a lead? Yep. Did they lose the game? Yes, they did. Absolutely. Was it a choke? Nope. But I mean, the thing is with the article to put the word choke in there makes it sound, oh my God, did they choke? Makes it sound like people are going to read it more because they put choke in there. And they said the Giants had a lead in 7 games and they wound up losing them. That may not draw as much attention to the article as choking would be. But the one thing is that if you ever look at it as like it's a documentary. No, but it was like, I don't know, maybe Giants, they got their own YouTube channel or whatever, and they put out, YouTube videos about the Giants, obviously. And one of them was about the 2011 Giants. And Tom Coughlin goes, and early in the beginning of the season, he goes, he has like a meeting, and he's talking to his guys, and he's brings up something along the lines, guys, if I say it once, I'm going to say it 1,000 times this year. It's a good video. Obviously, if you're a Giant fan, that's something you might want to check out. That shit just gets me freaking pumped up, baby. I love it. Absolutely love it. But he's like, if I say it once, I'm going to say it like 1,000 times this year. Finish, 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 right? You gotta learn how to finish. Finishing, winning and finishing and all that and everything is contagious. If you feel that at any time against any opponent that you can pull a victory out at any given point, you can beat anybody or overcome any deficit or whatever, it's contagious, right? If you just go out there and you keep losing week in and week out, you play uninspired football, there's no enthusiasm or nothing like that. Which I very rarely ever saw that with the Giants, especially last year. It was really sad, really, really sad. There were times where the Giants just needed a good kick in the ass to get them fired up and maybe a little bit to go out there and maybe take charge of the game, maybe score a touchdown or something. And they'd be either take the lead or they'd be right back in the game or whatever. And you just never saw that. There's times that they could have won a game. It's just uninspired football. That's contagious, right? So, if you can find a way to, all clean slates now, right? Judge and Gettleman, they're all gone, right? We got Shane, Dable, Wink Martindale, and so-and-so, Kafka in here. We got all new, coordinators, new head coach, new GM, right? Let's see if they can start bringing a winning attitude in here, a winning atmosphere. Because, let's face it, Wink Martindale coming from the Ravens, that's a winning organization. Mike Kafka coming from the Kansas City Chiefs, that's a winning organization. You got Shane and Dable coming from the Bills. Guess what? Another winning organization. So you got people coming from winning organizations, okay? Hopefully, right, it'll be contagious, and the Giants will start, start rubbing off on some of the Giants, okay? And maybe the Giants just might pull a few games out of the hat this year. Maybe that they're full, maybe they were underdogs. Maybe they had a 10-point, they were losing by 10 points, but they pulled it out in the fourth quarter somehow. That's very, very contagious. And if you can just, while you're rebuilding, if you can always have a winning atmosphere, a winning attitude, right? While you're rebuilding, and each year maybe you add another piece to the puzzle, and another piece to the puzzle, and another piece of the puzzle, and all along you keep that winning attitude, winning atmosphere. Before you know it, the Giants find themselves in the playoffs and maybe making a push for a Super Bowl.
So you see, I mean, bringing Ebron in, hey, I'm all for it, right? Absolutely. I mean, there's so many guys available, right? Is he a long-term solution? Absolutely not. I mean, can he be maybe somewhat of an asset to the team with his experience and all? Absolutely. He'll be cheap, which is right down the Giants' alley. So I mean, and I've said many times, it's never a finished product. You're always bringing guys in and letting them go. Unfortunately, sometimes as I kind of seen the thing, sometimes you can make almost too many moves. I mean, you bring guys in, you think you're gonna, then it's then you see the next shiny object out there, and you bring somebody else in. You let this guy go, and this guy winds up going on another team and maybe having a good year, and the guy you brought in to replace him doesn't do so. Sometimes you make just too many moves. But bringing Eric Ebron in, at least a tryout. I mean, as far as I know, they haven't signed him, but they did bring him in, so that's cool. It's something in the right direction. However, it's just kind of hoping it's not a sign that Daniel Bellinger is a little injured and he may not be ready for quite some time. I hope it's certainly not something like that. And then as far as the Giants choking, there was mentioned in the video, the 2011 Giants, Tom Coughlin, there's a video out on, it's like a half an hour long, so it goes over the season, the 2011 season. And in the beginning of the season, he has the guys in there for a meeting or whatever like that, and he's walking around. He's like, I said something like, if I say it once, I'm going to say it like 1,000 times this year. Finish, finish, finish. And if you finish, usually good things happen to you. If you don't, if you have a lead or a tie maybe, and you don't come out on top, you didn't finish. And last year, the New York Giants certainly did not finish. Not that, if they finished in a few of those other games, not that it really would have much mattered. They weren't going to the playoffs at all, and they certainly weren't going to go to the Super Bowl, not with Jake Fromm or Mike Lennon as quarterback, and all the injuries they had. I mean, they weren't going anywhere. So they picked up a couple more wins. That would have been nice, would have been exciting, but it wasn't going to make a heck of a lot of difference in the long run. It would have hurt them in the draft standing, the draft order, but hopefully going forward, a lot of it's just contagious. If once you start getting that taste of winning, you realize, hey, you know what, we can win, we can do this. Then it starts becoming contagious, and then you start finding ways to win. When you just start losing, then you start finding ways to lose. So now maybe everybody's got a clean slate, the coaching staff and the GM, everybody's got a clean slate, all right? So maybe if they go out and they can just find, pull out a victory or two, from the jaws of defeat, or when a game is tied, they kick the game-winning field goal to get a victory, or they're going to overtime, they wind up winning the game or something along the lines. Finding ways to win is contagious. And once you start getting that contagious, then you start believing. And once you start believing that you can beat anybody at any given time, right, no matter what the score is, that's psychological. That's huge. Once you start losing, and it's like, and the whole team's like, yeah, here we go again, yep, another loss. Right? That's contagious too. So, not so much under the last 8 games of 2020 weren't too bad. The Giants were 5-3, okay, but the first half of 2020 and all of 2021, it was nothing but a losing atmosphere. And you get that losing atmosphere, and it's a tough thing to shake. So hopefully with Shane and Dable, the new coaching staff, and some new players come in, hopefully the Giants can start finding some ways to win. Because, as I said, once you start finding ways to win, it can be contagious. And if you believe that you can beat anybody at any given Sunday, the sky's the limit. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!